All right, can you see me now? Can you hear me now? Can you guys see me now? Can you hear me now? Yes? You can? We're good? Quick, if you can hear me or see me, just jump on the chat and say, Pete, we see you, we hear you. Okay, everybody's saying good. Everyone's saying good? All right, the only good thing is we allowed the people that are a little late to come on to not miss anything, so that's a good thing. All right, so look, we got a lot of people obviously on this. This is, you know, technical. If you get a lot, sometimes you get jammed up, so just hang in there. Should we stop people entering right now, or do you want to leave it open for a little while? It's good. Just keep on going? All right. If you get disconnected, just jump back on, or just stay put as you were, and I'll do it on my end, all right? So we're good. I don't see the chats on my end, just so you know.
Some people are saying connection still isn't great, hearing an echo.
How come I can't see the chat on my end?
You just have to go to the chat box
right there. Right here?
No, right there.
Oh, there it is. Now I can see everyone chatting to me. I haven't been rude all this time, honest. And just a little FYI, it's difficult to go through all these questions and chat at the same time, but I'm going to try to do the best I can, all right? So I can see you, I can hear you. Yes. Hello from Myrtle Beach. Must be warmer there.
That light is causing an issue.
That light is causing an issue?
So
is it a glare?
See if you can
is that better? Is that better? How about if I just go a little sideways here? Oh, you're on a delay. All right. So yes, 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 and yes, yes. Good. Okay, we're all live. Don't you just love technology, right? That's me, of course. All right. So what I have is probably more questions that I've received, but that's okay, because I feed off of this stuff. You guys know that. I want every question you have so I can answer everything I possibly can. And we're just going to hit it running. I mean, usually this is an hour webinar. As many people know, I probably will go a little over an hour, and it is recorded, right, Rob? We're recording it?
Yes.
We're going to have a link. So if you have to jump off, don't worry about it. We are going to send you out a link afterwards as well. I want everybody to take notes if you can. I know some people are on, I don't know, lunch break or a work break or whatever, wherever you are, just make sure you take notes. I always say this to people. When you write something down, it sticks in your brain a lot longer, okay? What are we looking at now?
There's just a glare.
You good?
I'm wondering if, like, is it messy up there?
It's a glare. You can't see my beautiful Greek hair with the glare? Is that what you're saying? What's up? I spiked this thing and everything. No? Is the gel screwing everybody up?
Does your camera look really good?
My camera. All right, don't be afraid. I'm just going to clean this. No, I kind of see that too on my end. That's all right.
No, you will, because it's coming through your camera.
That's all right. I do see that glare.
It's not.
What do you see?
It's worse. It doesn't make any sense. It didn't look like this.
That's all right. As long as you can hear me, you can see me a little bit. I'm okay with that. All right? All right, so what was I saying? So I've got a ton of questions. I'm going to go over as many as I can. A lot of the questions are duplicates. So there's more than one person asking, the same thing. So if I don't ask, if I don't call your name specifically, but I answer your question, just understand that I believe me, I've gone through all the questions. They're still bringing in questions as we're ready to go right now. So we're going to ask, answer everything. I always like to say this before I stop, a little pat on your back. Because you took the time out right now to really, add some more value to your life by just getting educated and getting these answers that can, honestly, folks, it's made a drastic change in my life. I'm flattered when I get people, that email me and I meet live in person or an event or wherever it is, and they tell me that it's made an amazing change in their life as well. So I commend you guys for taking the time and doing something that can potentially change your life, right? For those that are brand new, congrats. For those that have been flipping houses and quick flipping for years, congrats for still, doing it and constantly evolving and changing with what's going on in the market. So congrats. Let's jump right in. And I'm going to just start going through all these questions. Okay. So let me pull up this real quick on my screen because it's a little easier for me. All right. So the first question I have is, and this is in no particular order, by the way. I just threw all the questions into a Word file, and I'm just going to rifle them off. All right. The first question is, this is from Carmita, and she's asking, what does the contract look like? Where do I get the contract? Where should contracts be submitted upon purchase? Please explain the entire process. So I think this is definitely someone that's new to this, and that's great. That's why I like starting with a question like this. When you refer to contract, there's a couple of contracts. One is the purchase and sale contract. So when we're entering into a deal with someone, we sign a purchase and sale contract. Now, you're asking me to explain the entire process. So I think I'm gonna take advantage of that right now and literally walk you through the entire process of a quick flip. Okay. So what we're doing here in quick flipping is it's AKA also known as wholesaling. So we're not actually doing the rehab work. And I know a lot of questions in there say, well, how do I get the rehab and the funding and so forth? What we're doing is we're quick flipping, we're wholesaling. So the objective for us is to find a motivated seller, offer them a price where our partner investor, right, can make some money, and we can make an assignment fee for putting that contract together. So let's walk through this a little bit. The first document you sign is the purchase and sale contract. The purchase and sale contract is the agreement between yourself, yes, even though you're not the rehabber, yourself and the seller. Now these contracts, and there's another question that's coming up, have what we call outs to them, meaning that you're never at risk. At any time, we've done these contracts with $50. We've done it with an average of $500. And that escrow money that you're putting down, the earnest money, is never directly to the motivated seller. It's always to, what we like to do is put it in an escrow with our closing attorney or your escrow agent. So your money, your $50 or your $500 is never at risk. The purchase and sale contract has language in there that says that you can get out, okay? And that's in the modules as well. And then what happens is once you put it in the contract, you have a certain amount of time to bring in your investor partners into the deal. And if they like it, they then take over the contract, not by assignment, because in many states you cannot assign, bank owns you cannot assign, short sales you cannot assign, okay? We put it in a realty trust, and then we resign and assign the new person. So that's the process of the wholesale of the quick flip. And for that assignment, you collect a fee, never putting you at risk, never putting any money at risk, not having any experience. You don't need to rehab, contract anything. All right. So that's, I'm gonna go through this and answer this again, because there's other questions that specifically hit on something else. But that is the entire process, and it's all covered in the modules in the masterclass. All right. All right. Next one. Can you give me some examples of reputable sites where I can find free or inexpensive editable stock logos? I don't want to spend a ton of time here, as you mentioned, and the budget is tight. All right, so obviously it sounds like you're already in the business setup, and I talk about this. I don't want you, when we set up our business, we've given you the websites, and we're walking you through exactly how to set it up and model exactly what I'm doing in my business. There's some huge value in that. I mean, it took me years and years to get to that point, and now you guys are able to model the exact setup that I have. But things like email, logo, and phone number are pretty much the three things that, and your domain name are the things that you have to get yourself, right? So I don't want people hung up on putting a logo together. I don't want you sitting there for, 2 months going to a custom graphic designer. If you wanted to do that, okay, it's not a must. The logo is not what's going to make you money here. All right. So let me give you a couple of options for logos. And this is in the business setup, but I'm going to just go over it real quick and just write it down. All right. But you can always reference it in the business setup. So write down graphicriver.net. That's GRAPHIC River, RIVER.net. Okay. You can go there, and I was checking it out again this morning, from $29 to $32, and you can basically select a logo, put in your name in there, JKM Property Solutions, and it comes with the logo, everything. Download it, you're done. $30. All right. Then some people say, well, I want something a little more customized. Not the 2-month version. It's all right. I don't want you going down that road. But if you wanted something a little more customized, you can go to 99 Designs. You can go to Upwork. Write those two down. And this is a little more personalized, but not 100% custom. And those, I think, run, maybe $50 to $100 and so forth. Now, for those that are in the QuickFlip program, we've got a quick start guide in there now. Now, as you can tell, we're updating. We're constantly going to be updating things on our platforms. But as soon as you log in now, if you go to the quick start guide, right, the start here section in the upper left, we walk you through exactly what to do. And one of the things we talk about is a free option for a logo. And I think that's your question, like, is there a free option? And there is a free option for the logo. That's hatchful.com. So try that, okay? Go to hatchful.com, HATCHFUL.com, free logo design. Don't expect too many bells and whistles, guys, but you're definitely going to get a logo. You're going to put your name in there. I like the more horizontal logo. It works well with your websites, and that's it. All right, so I hope that helps out. All right, next question. What website should be entered on the business cards? That's a great question, because you're going to have 3 websites: your motivated sellers, right? Your landing pages for your investors, and your credibility website. I would put on there my credibility website, unless you say to yourself, I want another set of business cards just for the motivated sellers. See, the reason why we have 3 websites is when I'm giving a message to a motivated seller, I want them focused on that one landing page. And the messaging on that landing page is, I will buy your house fast. We will, pay cash, no home inspection, no real estate commissions, close in your date as fast as 7 days. Now, back up a minute, Pete. Wait a minute, cash? What are you talking about? Guys, this is not your cash, okay? You're putting the deal together. And I always tell people that the way we represent ourselves is myself and my partners will do all this. Okay, so that's the comfort zone that you have if you're a newbie. If you're an experienced investor like myself, it's still the same, myself and my partners, because I'm not rehabbing the quick flips, the wholesales. My partners are, okay? And those are the investor buyers. And we're going to talk about how to get the investor buyers on your list. So that was it, right? What website should I put on there? I like, if I have a business card that I'm working with other investors, the credibility website is for you're working with other investors, you're dealing with bankers, you're trying to grow your business. But really, if you want a business card to leave with the motivated sellers, that website, and I'm okay having 2 business cards, that website should be just the motivated seller landing page, period. That's it. I don't want them going to the credibility site. They might land there, and there's nothing bad to see there. It's just there's too many tabs up top. It's about us, it's investors, it's we buy your house. That's the credibility site, but I don't want them being confused. The confused mind doesn't perform, doesn't move forward. But the landing page for the motivated seller spells it right out. This is why we do it this way. No home inspections, no real estate commissions. Move fast, all right? Great question. All right, Armando has a question. I need to know if I'm 100% ready to wholesale houses. Can you explain exactly 1, 2, 3, step by step? I don't understand each detail, but I need to know the ins and outs, the secrets of the trade. All right, so it was kind of answered that in the first question, but again, I'm going to hit this again and again and again because I want you guys to really get this. The process of the wholesale, aka the quick flip, it is where you put a contract together and you tell the motivated seller that this realty trust will buy the property. Then you find the investor buyer, and the investor buyer is the person that actually takes the realty trust from you, and they're the ones that actually do the deal. So I'm going to break it. I think I'm going to take a little bit of time here to really break this down. The first thing I have everyone do is I have them find the investor buyer's partners, I call them. And why is that? You might have seen me say this, plenty of times. The number one reason why people are afraid to put in an offer to purchase real estate is they're afraid it's going to get accepted. As funny as that sounds, and that's the whole reason and purpose of being in business to QuickFlip, you have to put in offers, because if you don't put in an offer, there's no possibility someone's going to accept it and you're going to move forward with making some money. But what happens is if you don't have that investor buyer partner lined up, you have this fear and you're like, oh my goodness, what if I put in an offer and they accept it? And then you got this hot potato and you're running around going, I'm going to lose my mind. Now what do I do? So now I know there's some investors out there that don't mind working in that stressful, crazy hot potato scenario. If you're one of them, go ahead, do it. There's many ways to get to the finish line. For me, I always wanted a little peace of mind. So what I do, and the program tells you to do, is I want you to find the investor buyer partners first. And you have a different walk when you're walking, and you know that you've got 3 people that say to you, hey, Peter, I've got $1 million cash. I'm ready to go. I'm not good at finding properties. I'm good at rehabbing them. And what happens to me, Peter, is when I'm in rehab mode, I don't have time to find properties. So find them. When I hear that investor say that to me, I'm more empowered to go find more properties. When you have 2 investors saying that to you, it's even more power, because now you realize it's not just all your eggs on in one basket. And when you have 3, you really feel a sense of confidence. So I like to find them first. We're going to talk about how we find them, very easy, in a little while. When I have them, then I focus on marketing to find deals. Another hot question. We're going to talk about how and when and, budgets and so forth. But let's just get right to the chase. You market and you find a deal. You meet with the seller and you go through the proposal and you actually go through the ARV process, the MOFO formula. We're going to cover that as well. And then you put the property under contract. Now, this is where people get freaked out. Wait a minute, I'm putting a property under contract. This is scaring me already. The contracts that we use have language that never put you at risk. And basically, guys, I know you've heard me say no home inspection. Like, what are you talking about, Peter? We don't even get to inspect the home. I never said you're not going to inspect the home. All I'm saying is you're not going through the traditional home inspection process. So what I do is I meet with the seller, and I want to also back up one step here. When I meet with a motivated seller, the first option I give them, guys, if there's an opportunity for this, let's define motivated seller. It's a person that's in a situation that needs a win-win, okay? They need your help. If I find someone that I really can't service, and they can simply put this thing on the market and go retail and just get a retail offer and make more money by doing that, do it, okay? What goes around comes around. That's the first thing we look at. When we see that scenario and we say, why are you selling this to me, for less of money? Because for me to buy it, I have to buy it at this price point to make a profit. You understand that? I do understand that. Well, you could just put it on the market and sell it retail. And if they can, help them go that way. But when we say motivated seller, folks, these people cannot. That's the difference. And that's what I need you to understand. That's why I keep on saying motivated seller. Well, what do you talk? What's an example of that? I'll give you just a couple of them, just to get you in that right frame of mind. I get people that are going through a divorce, and we just got to make this deal happen fast. It's an ugly divorce. The kids are crying. I go home. We live in the home. I'm there. I'm here. As soon as I walk in the house, my spouse starts going at it with me. The kids are freaking. We want out. But sir, there's 100,000 equity. I don't care about the equity. She doesn't care about the equity. The value, the mindset of our children is way more important. If you can give us $200,000, we'll walk away. But it's got to be fast. And, I'm looking at them like, why don't you go to stay at a hotel? I don't want to stay at a hotel. I don't want to move out. I don't have the money. My accounts were frozen. So we can't touch money. I can't buy. I'm like, okay, I get it. That's a motivated seller. Do you think this person has time to put their property on the market, to stage it, to maybe freshen up the front entrance, fix that, roof a little bit, maybe landscape, curb appeal? Do you think they have time for that? They don't. Nor are they in the mindset of that. So if I go in there and say, listen, I think you can get a real quick sale in 30 days by just doing this, I don't want to do that. I don't want to clean garages. Now I'm staying at my friend's, this is the type of scenario. All right. Another scenario is the probate scenario. And write that down, probate, where someone inherits a property. When they inherit a property, most of the time, it's a nuisance for them. They take the property over. If it's in around, an area that the winter's coming, right? Like now, and you have to heat the property, you have to insure an abandoned vacant building. You know what vacant insurance policy costs? If regular policy is $1,000, a vacant one's $3,000. Okay, you have to heat it, you have to maintain it, landscape it, winterize it. People are very motivated. So this is the scenario that we look for. All right, so let's go back now. You've got the motivated seller. You give them their first option. They want to move forward with you. They love the fact that you're not doing a home inspection, but yet you need to be protected because it's not just about them. It's a win-win. So when you sign the purchase and sale contract, it's boilerplate. There's standard language in there. Clean and marketable title is one of the most important things, that they actually have a good title to the place to sell to you. And the number one, there's only one contingency I put in there, guys. The one contingency is that I'm allowed, I try to get as much time as I can. I put in there a 14 business day due diligence process, a satisfactory due diligence process. And write that down, a 14 business day satisfactory due diligence process. So I have to be satisfied. And I have 14 days. So for whatever reason, if I'm not satisfied, I walk away. So if I've got my $50 on the line, which is held by my attorney in escrow, or my $500, and I don't think I've ever put more than $1,000 down, okay, on the purchase contract. So I actually put $5,000 before, and as long as I can put $20,000 down if I have the money, because my attorney holds the money, and I have to be satisfied. So if the 15th business day, I say I'm not satisfied, yeah, I've jeopardized my $50. But I have 14 business days, okay, which translates to about 3 weeks. And guess what I'm doing in those 3 weeks? Take a guess. I'm going to close this out a little bit here. What I'm doing in these 3 weeks is I'm bringing in there my investor partners. And the way I put that out there, guys, it's the truth. I say to them when I go see the property, this is an ideal property. I have partners that I work with. That's how I'm able to scale my business. Where it's a great partnership. I meet with the sellers and coordinate everything, and my partners actually do the rehab work. And this is something that my partners and I love. I just want to make sure that I can get my contractors in here. There's probably 2 or 3 partners I'm thinking about for this property. This needs a lot of plumbing work, so I'm going to bring in a plumbing partner and my general contractor partner as well. So what works good for you? Can I come in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I get, I'm flexible, Peter, or I'd like to do it all in one day. What I don't like to do to my investor partners, I don't like to put them all together in 1 hour. Because that's kind of, and a lot of brokers do that when they're trying to sell something. Open house from 12 to 2, they bring everybody in there, creates a frenzy competition. I don't like to do that because I have good relationships with my investor partners, all right? But now I've told them, Jack's coming in, Joanne's coming in, and, Julie's coming in, all right? They're my 3 investor partners that are coming in. So let me just take a little sip of water real quick. All right, so what happens is, I've introduced them to my investor partners. So my first investor partner comes in, they look around and they go, I'm interested. And they know, they're walking through, they're looking at rehab work. And most of my investor partners are contractors. I would say not all of them, but a lot of them are. They're also contractors. So they're looking through, they're looking how much work needs to be done. And they come out of there and they say, geez, that's 50 grand to be, 60 grand, 100,000 in repairs. The next one comes in and says the same thing. When I find a good deal, I have one problem. If I bring 3 investor partners in there and they all like it, now I have to pick and choose who I'm going to give it to. And many times I've had some investor partners that come through and, I'll call them again, say, do you want to look at another property? Say, I'm not coming anymore. And I said, why? This is just happening. Why? Well, every time I come through, I tell you I'll give you the money you want and you never give it to me. And I said, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. So the next one is yours. Those are good problems to have. All right. But what happens now is your investor partner comes in, or partners come in. I've already told the motivated seller that Jack, Joanne, and I forget who I said, Leslie's coming through. And then Jack ends up saying, Peter, I will definitely take this property over from you. I'll give you your wholesale fee, $10,000, no problem, hands down. So then I call the motivated seller within the time frame of my 14 business days. and say, great, I'm doing this partnership with Jack. We're moving forward. Everything looks great. I'm satisfied, and we move forward. Okay, what if all three people go through and nobody likes this thing? And I thought it was a good deal, and I thought it was 50,000 in repairs, but it was 100,000 because I didn't see something, and I'm a newbie, and I didn't really get it. Are you in jeopardy? The way my contracts are set up, you're never in jeopardy. Your worst case scenario, if you went through that process, is you got some great experience on what to do next time. Okay? That's the 1, 2, 3 step. Once I go through this due diligence period, I got two choices. I like it or I don't. If I don't like it, I write a letter, says I'm dissatisfied with my due diligence, and I walk away. And my attorney releases the funds back to me. Now, time out. There's one more little step in there. Why don't you like it, Peter? Well, when we walked through with Jack or John or whoever it was, there was $50,000 in, knob wire tubing that I didn't account for. My eyes didn't see that. What does that mean? They might come back and say, well, listen, what if we knock off 50 grand on this thing? Or how about we meet you halfway? Or what if because we really got to move. And believe me, that happens. But you want to do this during your 14 days. You don't want to do this on the 14th day, because once that 15th day comes, you now walk away. And they might have someone else they're talking to. But within the 14 days, you can negotiate. All right. And plenty of times I do. A recent one I did, there was a septic tank issue. And I knew it was there, but I didn't want to deal with it because winter was coming up. And you really can't be digging in out parts of of the country here. I mean, snow, ice, frozen. So I was $250 she wanted, and I was great at $250. And I said, you know what? I just don't want to do it. She said, why? I said, because the septic, well, you accounted for septic. I said, I know, but the winter's coming, and then I have to hold this thing during the winter, and my investor partner does, and I ended up getting it for $200,000. She was like, how about $225? And I'm sitting there going, if I get this thing for $225, I'm definitely doing it. So she threw it out at me. I was like, oh, I don't think I want to do it. How about $215? I mean, she was doing it. And finally, at $200, I had to slap myself in the face. I said, "What? Are you nuts? You were there at $250. You're not going to spend $50,000 in carrying costs." So this happens all the time. So once we go through this process, we've tied it all up. It's a yay or a nay. We move forward to the next step. All right. And the next step is everything is in trust documents, and that's how I resign, assign, and move forward. But that's the 1, 2, 3, guys. If we like the deal, we move forward. We get the assignment fee. Have I rehabbed anything? Have I jeopardized, any money? Do I have to have a big knowledge of construction? I don't have to know anything in construction, because I'll tell you who's going to educate you real fast: the 3 people you bring in. And the good thing is this: once you do 1 or 2 of these, if you have zero knowledge in construction and you walk into this 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot home where the kitchen is a mess, the 2 baths are a mess, the siding is bad, the paint's bad, and they come back and tell you 75 grand, you now know that look is around 75 grand. That's how I started. I used to go in and go, I'm not sure, I think it's 50. And they would come back and say it's 70. All right, I was close. But listen, 20 grand is a big difference when you're trying to make a spread and everyone happy. So it's okay to just jump in the game and figure it out. And you're going to make some mistakes, by the way. Mistakes are part of this process. I celebrate with mistakes, all right? Now, I know it took a little bit of time there, but guys, that's the basis of this whole principle here. So I really needed you to kind of wrap your head around that. All right, Tom asks, hi, Peter. I've been flipping houses for years. I'm embarrassed to say I've never had a website. Tried a few times buying a template, but couldn't find one that was really customized to this business, and they wanted too much money for templates. So big thanks for finally putting it out there. Love the modules, especially your deal evaluator. My favorite's the MoFo formula. My question is, can I adjust the 20% of the investor profit to 50% if it makes it easy to find more deals? It makes it easy to find more deals that way. Thanks again. Also, I had seen one of the Flipping Boston episodes that says you're working on an app. Is that out yet? Well, a couple of questions in there. So first of all, congrats. Thanks for joining the team. Don't be embarrassed, by the way, because I didn't have a website for years. I just didn't. I just kind of was grinding, putting my head down, trying to find deals the wrong way, doing it all wrong. Man, if I knew then what I knew now, I always say that. People say, what's your biggest regret in life? And that's just, not jumping in the game and waiting. I waited, I don't know, 7, 8 years. I wanted to jump in. I wanted to put in offers, but I was scared. And then that fear took over my body. I was trying to get in partners to do it with me. They didn't want to do it with me. And then finally, I just put in an offer. And big deal. Just they denied it. I said, fine, let's put in another offer. Because that was my fear. So don't be embarrassed about that, man. And now the fact that you have my websites, I'm totally okay with it. People say, how do you give your websites away? Guys, there's so much business out there. It's a landing page. I don't care. You're going to direct traffic right to that landing page. We show you how to do it, and you're going to get someone to come into that funnel, and you're going to work a deal if you take action, if you do what we tell you in the modules. All right? So don't be embarrassed about that. I was in the same place. MoFo formula. Let's talk about that real quick. And some of you know, you've heard the modules. Some of you probably haven't gotten that deep yet. MoFo is not a swear. It's an acronym, okay? It's the maximum offer for ownership. And here's what it is. We're going to write it down. We're going to do it live, all right? We'll put some scenarios together. So let's say the MoFo formula is ARV, okay, which is after repair value, minus 20% profit, minus 10% soft costs, minus repairs, minus wholesale fee. Just write that down real quick. And if you have access to the modules, it's all in the modules, all right? So ARV is minus 20% profit, minus 10% soft costs, minus repairs, minus your wholesale fee. That gives you your maximum offer for ownership. So let's use an ARV. When we say ARV, we talk about once this house is fixed up and ready to put back on the market, what is the value of it? So after you repair it, value, okay? Also known as the comps, or better yet, what are you going to put it on the market for? What are you going to list it for? So let's say you're going to list it for $300,000. We're going to make this real simple. We'll use $300,000. That's after you fix it, you're going to put $300,000 out there, all right? And let's say now, why is it 20% profit first? Well, you're not going to make the profit of 20%. Your rehab investor partner is. And by the way, I use the same formula when I personally flip as well, because I do cherry pick flip properties. But with this whole program, we're talking about quick flipping. We're talking about making money without any risk, without any hammers, any sledgehammers, any rehabbing, any materials. That's what we're talking about here. But once in a while, I cherry pick and I flip houses, just like you see me flipping, on Flipping Boston. So I like to make 20% profit off of ARV. If it's $300,000, what does that mean? I want to make $60,000. That's what I want to put in my pocket. And 10% of the ARV, you have to account for soft costs. So $30,000 is going to be chewed up. And what's in soft cost, by the way? Write this down, because I get this all the time. The soft cost number is everything you can possibly think of under the sun that's going to be an expense on the project, except repairs. Insurance? Yes. Carrying costs? Yes. Legal fees? Yes. Escrow agent fees? Yes. Water and sewer while they hold it? Yes. Utilities? Yes. Anything. Taxes? Yes. Yes. You get it. Everything except repairs. All right? Let me just minimize this window a little bit here. So everything except repairs. Now, people will challenge that plenty of times. So, well, how do you spend $30,000? Guys, 5% alone on a $300,000 deal, right, is $15,000 just on real estate commissions. So there's $15,000 right out of the gate gone. So believe me, you're going to spend $15,000 on carrying costs, or your investor partner is going to spend that money on carrying costs, on lenders, points, whatever it is they're doing. And I want you to know this: if they're paying cash for it, your investor buyer partners, then it's going to be less than that, and you're going to see how that adjusts your play right here. But $300,000 the ARV, minus $60,000 is the profit you want to put in your pocket, minus $30,000, which is 10%. Right, for soft costs, minus repairs. And for this case here, we're going to call repairs $10,000 because it makes it easy. All right. So what does that give you? 60, 30, and 10. That's $100K. So that you have to subtract from the 300, because if you're selling it for 3 and your investor partner wants to make 60,000, and then there's 30,000 subtracted from that as well in soft costs, and there's 10,000, in repairs. That's what? That's $100,000. So now you also have your wholesale fee. So if you wanted to make $10,000 on a wholesale fee, you add that in there. If it's 5, if it's 20, whatever it is, and now you subtract all those numbers. 300 minus 60, minus 30, minus 10, minus 10. The MoFo is $190,000. Do you start with that offer? No, that's the maximum offer for ownership. Now, the question here is, do I have to use 20%? Can I use 15%? So instead of $60,000, can I make it where it's $45,000 for their profit, which allows you to do what? Add 15 grand, right? 15. So it'd be $45,000 would be the profit for the investor buyer. So in this case, if you went down to 15%, guess what? You can offer $205,000 maximum offer for ownership as your MOFO. So the answer is yes. You can go 15%. You can get aggressive and go 10%. But really, what I want everyone to do is this. When you find, or if you already have, it sounds like you already have your investor buyers, what I want you to do is ask them a simple question. And we have the investor script as well, okay? That's in the modules. The sweet spot for the investor. So when I talk to a new investor, I say to them, hey, I know you're a house flip. I know you want me to send you over some deals to wholesale to you, to QuickFlip to you. What's your sweet spot? What are you looking to make on a deal? If they say to me $50,000, can I bring him this deal? Yes, right? I can bring him this deal. And I can certainly do the numbers where I can do 15% net profit for them, 45, and just take a 5% wholesale commission. But if the investor says I need to make 75 minimum, then that deal won't work for them. So I have investors that will say to me, Peter, I won't touch the property. I clearly can make $50,000 all bills paid. And I've got other guys that say I won't touch a property unless I can make clearly $250,000 all bills paid. Am I going to bring this deal to the $250,000 investor? No, I'm going to bring the $50,000 deal, right? And if I was able to get this for $190,000, they wanted to make $60K. In theory, I can, instead of a $10,000 hold, I charge a $20,000 wholesale fee. Does that make sense? Because they're just looking to make 50 grand. So what I don't want you doing is taking the investor partner commission part or the profit, I should say, down to 5%, 10%, because you're not going to be successful in finding people that are just looking to make $5,000, $10,000 and take all the risk. Guys, we are creating a win-win situation here. All right. The win-win situation is that I'm taking a motivated seller out of a scenario where most of the times, like I said earlier, these people that are motivated, they don't have the money to put in. So they say to themselves, Peter, if I had the $10,000 to put into this thing, I would just sell it. But I'm behind on my payments. I haven't made mortgage payments in 7 months and I'm facing foreclosure. So if I had the money, I wouldn't be behind on my payments. So yeah, $10,000 might be not a lot for you to do repairs, but for me, when I've been out of work and my health is not good and so forth, it's everything. I'm barely making ends meet. So my focus is, okay, first let's try to get retail for this person and get them and help them out, because you can also refer this to a realtor that you're building relationships with. We're going to talk about that as well. And if you're just referring people and helping good people out, believe me, it's going to come back to you, because that realtor is going to say, thank you for the referral, and I got some deals for you. Here's some deals you can, they don't know you're quick flipping, by the way, but here's some deals that you can flip. All right. So, but what I'm finding is you got to get to the motivated sellers and you've got to find solutions for them. So that's a win for them. What's the win for you? Because of your knowledge, your education, the time that you spent going through the modules, the time you're spending now, isn't your time valuable? My time is valuable, right? My time was valuable when I was sitting there, opening every module I can find, reading every book I can find, trying to figure out how to put this all together. And no one really explained it to me the way I put it out there and gave me everything I needed. They only gave me one piece here and one piece there. For a home study online course, guys, everything is there. And I know there's people that say, oh, can you do mentoring and coaching and so forth? Look, there's a waiting list for that. If you want that, chime in, send us an email. We're trying to get there. But, right now, we're just doing the online stuff, and we're doing the live Q&As, and I'm answering as many questions as I can. But believe me, you're putting in the time, just like I put in the time. So should you not be compensated for having that entrepreneurial spirit, putting in the time, investing a little bit of your money and mostly time and taking action? Why shouldn't you be? Why should you not, make money for the work that you put into it? All right. And then what you want is to make sure you put a good deal together. So when you go to your investor buyer partner, you're bringing them something you already know. You're bringing them a deal like this that makes them $50,000, $60,000. And you vetted that out. You know from them that that's what they're looking for. So you're never nail biting. You're never like, I hope they like this deal. It's in the area that they're working. Okay, you've reversed engineered it because you've found the investor buyer first, and then you set everything up. You did your marketing, you found the lead, you did the right thing with the lead, you're creating a win situation, and you're moving right along. All right. So great question. Sometimes I'm going to stay there a little longer, guys, because I answer many questions with one question. You're going to see me doing that. Okay. All right. So Tom, keep that up, man. Good work. So let's see. Jeff says, what is your out if you contract for a house and the seller, but you're unable to find a buyer? I answered it. All right. So that was it. My out is the 14-day satisfactory due diligence. I always have an out. I am never in jeopardy of losing my money. That's just the way I do it. And, you know, some people will say to me, oh, I can't get the 14-day business. You know, I can't get it. I can get 5. Take 5. I can get 1. Take it. Okay. But guess what? If you haven't reverse engineered this and set up at least 2 or 1, at least 1 investor buyer, what good is it? Because then you're in the hot potato seat. And even then, I would say do it. And people would say, well, why? You might pull it off. And if you don't pull it off, I want you to be upset. I want you to get pissed off and say, I could have made 10 grand here, because you'll never make that mistake. All right. I've done things like that. I've put myself in scenarios where I got 1 day to perform, and I've pulled it off and made some money, and I haven't pulled it off. And I've been pissed off. And I said, why were you in that scenario? Because you weren't prepared. You know, Peter told you to be prepared. He told you to go first and get that investor buyer, and you just didn't do it. You had a good deal in your hand. The investor buyer could have made 50, 60 grand. You could have made $10,000. And the guy only gave you 1 day. Guys, sometimes it's going to happen. 1 day. I've even put down $50 and I've had no due diligence. Okay. But what have I really risked? $50? In that case, I've done that too. All right. But my out, really, because if you don't perform, you lose your earnest money. I'm not interested in losing money, guys. I'm interested in finding good deals, good leads, good motivated sellers, creating a win-win situation, and making a win-win for the seller, myself, and my investor partner. All right. So that's my out to Jeff. All right. Next question. How to keep it secret, the amount that we are making. This is from Ali. How to keep it secret from every deal, from the investor and anyone else, while we have to send the details before the closing. So when you say secret, I'm assuming to the seller, to the investor, right? Here's what I have to say about this. It's not a secret to my sellers, guys. It's not. And it's really not a secret to anybody, because the way I position myself, first, let's talk about the motivated seller. I tell the motivated seller right out of the gate when I'm quick flipping. The reason why I'm able to make claims that we come in cash, close in 7 days, no home inspections, no real estate commissions. The reason I'm giving you all this value, motivated seller, is because I realized that I needed to partner up with several people to make this happen. And I've got the best partners, and I'm ready to go. You know, my partners are already biting at the bit to do this deal. So we're going to accomplish all that. Okay. And obviously my rehab partner comes in here. They do all the rehab. They make the bulk of the money. I make some money too, and we move on. So it's not a secret. Of course I'm there to make money. They don't know how much I'm making, 10, 20,000. But if the question is, do they ever see the amount? The answer is no. Okay. Because I can understand that some people say, well, you know, just because you put the deal together, you're making money. They don't see it. And I'll tell you how they don't see it. Now, as far as my investor goes, I'm very, very open with my investor as well, because if I have an investor that has a problem with me making $10,000 or $20 or $50 or $200,000 while they're making their $60, $100 or $250,000, then they're not on my team. Okay. What if I inherited the property? What if my aunt, you know, Jenny said, when I pass, Peter, this $1 million waterfront property is yours. Am I supposed to hide the fact that there's no mortgage on the property, no lien? What if I can get $1 million for it? Is that person upset with me? That's the part that people don't get. And yes, you might be dealing with someone that has an issue with how much you make. And what I would say to you is, don't deal with them anymore, because everything is in the up and up. When I call my investor partners, I'm like, guys, like, what do you want on this, Pete? And I chuckle and I say, I'd like 10. If I can get 20, I'll be happier. But if I got no interest, I'll take 5. Right? Isn't that the truth? I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I got $2,000 on one. And we didn't even put that through the whole process. It was a handshake deal. The guy says, I'll give you $2,000. And I shopped it. I thought I was going to make 10, 5. It was a quick deal. It came in. I said, I shopped it around for 2 or 3 guys. It was far. That's what the problem was. It was far for us, I think. And we hadn't lined up too many investors on that side of the tracks. And the guy goes, how about $2,000? I'll take it. All right. But the honest truth is, I say to them, I'm only showing it to 2 or 3 people. And then as much as I don't put them all in one room at the same time in that 1 hour, yeah, I do tell them I'm shopping it around. I do tell them that, 2 or 3 people. And then I like oh, come on, why are you going to show it 2 or 3 people? If I know what's going to happen, if I like it, you're saying 10 now, it's going to land at 15. And that happens. A recent one that I did, I had 3 people look at it. My first person was a contractor. There's a lot of work for me. He drove by it, calls me up, says, not interested. I'm not going to be honest with you. It was like getting punched in the stomach because here I am sitting there going, this is a good deal. And he says, not interested. And just click, talk to you later. Why? I just don't like it. Why? I got to go. It's one of those guys. And I immediately said to myself, man, maybe there's nothing there. Then I met the second person there, and we walked through. And it was actually the same day. We walked through at 2 o'clock because this person didn't want to spread out, all right? This person said, no problem, Peter, get in here. So the second person, we walked in there with my second investor partner, I call him. They looked around. I wanted $30,000 for it, $35,000. It was a condo conversion. They were going to make around $250,000, $200,000. So when the numbers get bigger on the other end, your wholesale fee gets bigger, okay? So then, they said, they looked at me and they gave me the 35, but he said, I got to talk to my partner. And I felt very good. I had 35, but he still had to talk to a partner. So then the last guy comes in, Frank, okay, who I've known for years. Frank comes in, looks around, likes it. He does all the condo conversions in this area. And Frank, I think he came to me and we started laughing because we're also friends. He's like, come on, you're working me now. You're trying to get 40. I said, Frank, just give me your number. And then I'm going to go back to the other guys. I'm going to get their number. And if they give me 50, I'm going to take the 50. He goes, what's the number right now where you don't go to them? And we started chuckling. I was sitting in the front seat of his truck, or we're in his pickup truck. I said, you tell me what the number is, right? Try not to speak first, by the way, okay? Try not to speak first. That's negotiating 101. So I think he turned around. I know it was higher than 35. He goes, what if I just give you 40 and you can't call him? And I said to myself, Pete, that's $40,000, okay? You just take the money. But I was curious, so I'll never forget this. I said, all right, I'll take the 40, but can I at least call him just to find out what they were going to give me? He goes, you can't even call him. I said, I have to call him. I have to at least tell him they don't get the deal. He goes, but don't ask him the number. And I said, Frank, if I shake your hand, it's over. And that's one thing you got to remember in this business, guys. When you shake someone's hand and you say they got the deal done for $40,000, it's done. It's $40,000. Take the money and honor that deal because it's a small world. And if you don't do what you say you're doing, believe me, word gets around. Okay. Now, I'm also going to show you how to make money even if the deal doesn't close. We're going to get into that because that's a question on here as well. So the others, I called the others. There was a partner team. And yes, they held their cards real close to themselves. And when I told them, I said, listen, I don't like to be this guy that tries to get the bidding wars. I just don't like to do it, guys. I try to keep everyone friendly, everyone happy. I said to them, look, I ended up getting a good number. It was more than 35. I'm not even calling you to say, what can you give me? The guys just offered me this money. I shook his hand. The deal is done, but I'm going to get you on the next deal. And they said, no problem, Pete. We really like you. We like the area. We respect the way you do business. Just call us first in the next deal. And that's what I did. All right. So I think it's crucial for you to understand that, guys. You have to get your investor buyers in there. Get them in there first. I mean, you have to know who you're lined up with in order to do this business. You're going to feel way more comfortable when you're doing this. Okay. All right. So let's see. Oh, and of course I let them know what I'm making because I'm looking at the question. The question is, how do you keep it? How do you keep it? I don't keep it secret. Now let me go back to this real quick. The seller. I'm going to talk a little trust documents now. What does the seller know I make? Who cares? I'm giving you your money, and I'm going to work it out between my partner and I. So if that deal made $250,000 for them or $200 for them and $40-50 for me, we decided there's a $250,000 profit. He's taking all the risk, Frank. All right, it was a 2-unit condo conversion, and he's taking all the risk. He's putting up $500,000, and the purchase price was $800,000. $800,000. That's what I had under contract for. So he went in at 840. So we're not talking peanuts here. They're taking all the risk. They're taking everything. So they shouldn't worry about how we carve that up. And that partnership was carved up 200 for Frank, 40 for Peter. Does that make sense? Now, I do this with the real estate trust documents. Okay, and I got to bring this up at this point because the question kind of ties in, how do they know what you're making? We're going to get into full detail with this, but this is what happens. The contract is under the 123 Main Street Realty Trust. What I'm doing with my Realty Trust documents that we've created, I'm basically resigning and assigning Frank's entity to close the deal. Okay, so for that assignment fee, I make my $40,000. And that's where the magic happens. Nobody sees the assignment fee. It's not recorded. It doesn't have to be public in all 50 states. Okay, the beneficiary interest changes. It went from my LLC or my name to Frank's LLC or Frank's name. And we'll talk a little bit about LLCs right here. When you're quick flipping, the LLC gives you protection, okay? All the assets of the LLC are in that LLC. So I like doing LLCs when I'm doing buy and holds, when I'm doing flips. I'm even using them when I'm doing quick flips. Do you have to have an LLC? You don't. If you're just starting out, you don't have to have an LLC. If it was just in your name, the liability exposure is minimal. I'm not an attorney. I can't give you counsel, but I'll tell you that, what is the probability of you getting sued, right? Because someone slipped and fell on that property. You're never owning the property. You put it under contract, Mr. and Mrs. Seller owns it. You resign and assign your interests to Frank for a fee. Guess who owns the property at that point? Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Frank closes, Mr. and Mrs. Seller doesn't own it anymore. Who owns the property? Frank does. So at what point does someone slip and fall on a property that you have to have it in an LLC? We do it in an LLC because it keeps us prepared for all kinds of deals. All right? But really, nobody knows what your assignment fee was. That's between you and Frank and the attorneys. Okay? All right, next. How do you get property under contract with no money down, and do you flip land as well? So property under contract, like I told you, you always have to have earnest money into a deal. All right, so $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. Never, ever, ever give that earnest money deposit directly to the sellers. Never. Always give it to your escrow agent or your attorney. Okay, held in escrow. That's the deal. The only way I've kind of, gone away from that, I've given it to the seller's attorney as well. I'll do that. But even that, I stick to my guns. My attorney holds the money. Okay. And when you get into a little bit of a pull, look, if it push comes to shove and the seller's attorney wants to hold the money, I'm okay with that, but I'm not putting a lot of money down. Okay. So that's how I'm doing it with no money. So when we say no money, guys, you're putting $50 down. All right. I mean, you got to have, even $10. I've seen students do it with $10 earnest money. Okay. But you're never using that money because that money comes right back to you. All right. Do you flip land as well? I'll flip any real estate, land, commercial, anything. Okay. Quick flip. We're talking quick flip here. And that's the big difference. Is a lot of people are asking some questions and we go right to the rehab flip. We're talking about quick flipping the paper, if you will. Okay, we're not assigning contracts, okay, because like I told you in the beginning of this thing, you cannot assign a bank-owned REO. You cannot assign a short sale. The language is in there. This contract is non-assignable, so I'm not assigning the contract, okay? I'm just relinquishing my rights as a trustee and as a beneficiary, and I'm assigning my trust documents to someone else. That's all. Even if it was an LLC, if I had an LLC company and I want to resign as the one of the managers, I'm just going to, well, Peter, we want you to resign. Well, then give me money to resign. Okay, Peter, we want to take over the contracts and close in the trust name. So by the way, the deal closed in the same trust name all the way through. We're going to go through this in a little while. All right, what time is it? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Questions. How do you get past the 5-day hold rule REOs in North Carolina? I think I just answered it. I'm not closing on this deal, guys. So let's get a little bit more into this right now. All right, because this is a great question. And there's a lot of, there's another question on here about Washington. Okay, in Washington, I forget what it is. I forget what act it is or what law it is. They want you to be a licensed bonded contractor to flip houses in Washington. Okay, in North Carolina, there's a 5-day hold. Fannie Mae, there's a 90-day. I've got all the questions. I get them all the time. So I'm gonna wrap 3 up, win 1 right now. This is where the magic happens with the trust. When I'm putting documents in there, okay, the declaration of trust, assignment and appointee of the trustee, and the trust document. So what happens now is, I'm kind of running fast because I'm looking at the time. Guys, hang in there with me because this is very important. All right, you got to listen to this one. Let's say I go to Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and Mr. and Mrs. Seller lives at 123 Charleston Road in North Carolina. What I do is I create the purchase and sale contract, and it says by and between Mr. and Mrs. Seller and the 123 Charleston Road, North Carolina, or Charleston Road Realty Trust will do the following. Purchase price is $200,000, close in 30 days, property must be broom swept and vacant, clean and marketable title. And we have, in our modules, we have the purchase and sale contract. But what I tell everybody to use is use your county sale contract. You can probably download it on the internet, or once you get your realtor on your team, get a copy from them. But use their language because it protects you. The only thing you're going to add to that is what? You're going to add in there your due diligence clause, your satisfactory diligence clause. If you can get 21 business days, go for it. If you can get 14, go for it. If you get 1, do it, right? So that's the only thing you're going to land in there. Now, what happens is you have a contract between you and the seller that says the 123 Charleston Road Realty Trust will be buying the property. And guess who buys the property? All you're doing, it comes down the road where your person comes in, your investor buyer comes in, and they say to you, all right, I'm interested. I will give you a $10,000 assignment fee to resign and just walk away. I like it. Okay, great. Now they sign that document. And that document has language in there that says if they don't fulfill their end of the bargain, they lose their deposit. Okay? It also says that they inherit everything, all the terms of the purchase and sale contract. It also says that they're putting down that $20,000, $10,000 assignment fee, and it's non-refundable. Now, why on earth would I give $20,000 non-refundable? I'll tell you just one good reason. When you find me a deal that can make me $250,000 profit, and I've got to give you $50,000 for it, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. And I'm going to say, I'm parking 50 grand with your attorney as you want, Peter. Give me that deal. You get it? However, they are protected. They inherit the terms of the P&S. Clean and marketable title. If the P&S says vacant property, it'll be vacant. So if all that comes true, they get the property. They want the property. If something doesn't come true and the marketable title isn't marketable, it's bad, cloud, just bad title, guys, they get their money back. Okay? But if everything pans out, that $50,000 comes to me. Okay? The way I do this now is I have my escrow agent or my attorney hold the $50,000, and we wait for the 30 days. We get paid on the 30 days. Now, let's also talk about, well, how are you making money even if the deal doesn't close? Well, let's think about this. Now, when you sign a purchase and sale contract and you go to the next step, you might put a $5,000 deposit on the purchase and sale contract, okay? And I want a $50,000 assignment fee. So in essence, I'm having them put the $5,000 purchase and sale contract, earnest money, and the $50,000 with my bank, with my escrow agent, my attorney, all right, which will eventually go to my bank, okay? So now what happens is, what if they pull out? What if they don't do the deal? If they screw up and don't show up at that closing on that 30th day, guess what happens? We still make $50,000. Guess what happens to the $5,000? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, they keep it because we get a contract. It says the 123 Charleston Realty Trust is going to perform this. And who is the trustee and the beneficiary of the trust? It's not me anymore, because I took $50,000 and resigned. And I'm just waiting for that 30th day to come by. Close or not close. It's really a brilliant way to do business right now in this market. You're never at any risk. Okay? Now, if I wanted to, I also, with our documents, our new documents, if I wanted to, I reserve the right to buy the trust interest back in and still close the deal. Story for another day. But this is how we do the realty trust. This is how, in North Carolina, it says a 5-day hold rule. Guys, I never owned the property, okay? The person that closes on the property, that rehabs, they have to deal with if there is a 5-day hold rule with REOs, okay? Oh, let's talk about this, by the way. REO, because I just said that. REO says you cannot assign a contract. You have to do a 5-day hold before you flip. I'll give you one worse. Fannie Mae says 90 days, okay? I get around all of that because you think the investor buyer is going to hold it for 5 days? Of course they are. They're rehabbing it. So we're not breaking any laws. We're not breaking any rules. I found the property. I also reserved to close on it if I wanted to, but I decided to resign and appoint someone new as a beneficiary. The trustee, by the way, can be your attorney, so no one even has to know it's you. And by the way, let's talk about this. I brought my investor partner in. I brought Frank into that deal, right? And I said, hey, Frank's one of my contractors I'm probably going to do this with. And guess what, Frank? I did it with Frank. And then I said to Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you know what, Frank's point lead on this now. I'll probably see you at the closing. If you have any questions, call me. Frank, just coordinate everything. Great, thanks. And hey, Frank, so can we really close in 30 days or sooner, like you said, in 8 days or 10? Frank was communicating. Frank actually put a dumpster on their site way before. Okay, he's like, do you mind if I put a dumpster there? I got one coming from another product. No problem. But the guy said to him, actually, do you mind if you put the dumpster there that I use it to throw out some of the trash? And Frank said, no problem, because on the contract, it actually said that we would throw all their trash out. So we put the dumpster there for that purpose. And then he asked, well, I'll let you put the dumpster there only if you let me put trash in it. Go ahead. Okay. So what happens is we get to that closing, and then whether it closes or not, we make the money, guys. All right. We've not broken any rules, any laws. In Washington, that's another question that I saw on here. In Washington, Frank, in this case, has to be a contractor, has to be a GC. That's not my issue. And if I wanted to cherry pick a deal in Washington and flip it myself, it's a decision I have to make. If I want to go get my GC license, what I would do is partner with a GC. If there's 250 grand on a property, or 300 or 400, like the big numbers, I would partner with a GC in a heartbeat and say, hey, guess what? You're a licensed GC. You're bonded. I found this deal. I don't want to just take a quick 30, 40 grand on a wholesale fee, 50 grand. Why don't we do it 50-50? 125 a piece, but you got to run the job. Your license? Yes, let's go. There's always a way around it, guys. All right? I hope you guys got the aha moment right there with the trusts, because that's how you get around the REOs, the short sale, the 5-day hold rule, the 90-day Fannie Mae rule, the Washington rule, everything. That's why I get all this. Yeah, but you can't do it here. Guys, we're quick flipping, okay? We're wholesaling real estate, and the key is with my documents that allow you to make money even if a deal doesn't close. That's the magic sauce that we've got in there for everyone to use. I mean, honestly, I got to pat myself on the back a little bit there, because it really works well, okay? And why should you not profit from all the hard work you did for putting this together, for educating yourself, for finding the people, for doing this, doing that? All right, so I've obviously gone over an hour, but I'm still going, so hang in there with me, okay? What do I need to get started? Do I need an LLC or a business license? I kind of covered this a little bit. This is from Tasha. You do not need an LLC. I'm not going to play attorney here, okay? But I told you why an LLC. Why I do an LLC is to give me that protection, okay? If I own a rental property, it's in an LLC. If someone flips and falls, they can actually sue and go after the LLC and everything the assets are. That's why I only use one LLC per rental, okay? And I love rental income. I quick flip to buy rentals. I flip rentals. That's what the end game is. So some people say, well, I want to say another person said it's $300 to do this deal, an LLC in my state, $500 in our state's $500, okay? I have an LLC separate for each property. But if I wanted to save some money, I can put 5 properties in one LLC. I don't recommend that. Again, I'm not an attorney, but I don't recommend that because if one person slips on property one, they can go after the LLC, right, and all their assets, which is now they can blanket all your properties, and then you're in a mess. So, if you're quick flipping and you're doing the wholesales that we're talking about, look, you sign the purchase and sale contract, you put it under a realty trust, okay? The realty trust has a trustee. I like to use my attorney as a trustee. The trustee only has limited powers, but it is a public name. They can see the trustee. Then you have beneficiaries. The beneficiaries can be Tasha. It doesn't have to be Tasha's LLC or JKM Property LLC. It could be Tasha. And I'm okay because you're never really exposing the liability. I would do this. I have to say it 1,000 times. I'm not an attorney. I'm just telling you what I would do. If I was Tasha, I would be okay not paying the $500 fee for an LLC. All right. And all this information, by the way, because there was another question from a gentleman that said, I got an LLC. I wish I'd known I didn't have to get an LLC right up front. It's in the quick start. Okay. Soon as you log in, the first thing we talk about, it's in there. So you guys got to go through the modules. You can't just buy the thing and think it's just going to happen for you if you don't do the action, if you don't do the work. All right. I mean, I don't know how many times I bought 6-pack abs or whatever you want to call them. If it's sitting on my bookshelf, I'm still going to have a little gut here, right? I got to open it up. I got to just watch the videos and eat right and I got to put in the work, guys. Okay. So the answer is you don't have to do all this. I'm okay if you're getting a fee just in your name in the beginning. And once you make your $5,000, $10,000, get your business license, get your LLC. And we talk about that in the Quick Start program. All right. I'm a newbie, smaller market. We live in the area with about 125,000 people. Our nearest REIA group is 8 hours away, completely different from Market Town. There are some upcoming auctions that I plan to attend to look to meet investor buyers. But other than that, do you have other suggestions for meeting investor buyers? I'm worried that I'll find a good deal, but have no one to sell it to. Look, that's a good problem to have, and we're going to talk about that right now. We don't want you being in the hot potato scenario, okay? Because you will find good deals when you take action. So I love the trainings. Thanks for doing these Q&As. Please record again. I am recording the Q&As. I told you guys they're being recorded. You'll get the link for it. And let's just jump right in and spend a little time here. This is another important one. So let's see here. REIA groups, you're 8 hours away, okay? And yes, you will find like-minded people at REIA groups. I like to find investor partners at REIA groups. I also like to find attorneys that speak this language at REIA groups, okay? No one's asked an attorney question yet, but I'm going to bring it up. Who do I find at REIA groups? Like-minded investors, okay? By the way, I don't want to say a percentage, but if I go to a REIA group and there's, 10, 20 people there, most of them are not doing business, okay? And they're trying to get inspired and trying to get going. There's 2 or 3 in the back of the room that are there that are really doing business. Those are the 2 or 3 I'm talking about I want you to connect with, okay? Everyone else, if you're a newbie, you're going to be the most of that's not doing business yet. But what do we investors partners want? We want to find a good deal that makes us 50 grand, 100 grand, whatever, because we'll put the money in if we're cherry picking, flipping these things. I've talked to investors. They don't want to do wholesales. They want to flip. They're contractors, or they're just people that want to go in and design and pick colors. Listen, guilty as charged. I love doing this stuff. All right. If you watch Flipping Boston, you'll see me doing it all the time. Myself, my wife. I mean, we just love doing this. I just found an easier way with no risk to make money, guys. Okay. So when you go to these REIA groups, find the investor buyer partners, find the attorneys. And when I say attorney, the attorneys aren't going to hang out there, by the way. Some do because they want business, but they're not hanging out there. But the investor business partners, they will tell you when you say, hey, I'm looking for a great attorney if I find a deal that we can wholesale it, to that speaks the language. The first thing they're going to say is, oh, call John or call Judy, call Kathy, call Jack, and tell them I sent you. All right? That's who I want to talk to, an investor attorney. Now, I say this all the time. I don't want to go to my eye doctor for my meniscus, surgery, okay, or my ACL. Does that make sense? Don't go to your foot doctor, when your eyeballs are hurting you, okay, and you can't see. But that's what people. How many times I went to my attorney and they said I can't do wholesales; they're illegal in North Carolina. There's a 5-day hold rule. They don't know what they're talking about. You don't go to your regular attorney. Go to a person that speaks this language, okay? I went to my attorney in Washington, and they said to me, I can't do flips. unless I decide to go get my and it's all the message gets all skewed. I get to be a real estate agent. I have to be a licensed contractor. I've got to be bonded, and I got to do handstands. That's what this guy said to me. What are you talking about? Okay, but if you went to an investor attorney and you said, "Hi, I'm looking to do wholesales," say, "Yeah, come right in. Let's go. What are you doing?" And then I want you to bring in my trust documents, because what the attorneys do is say, "Oh, I like this. I like the way he's got that clause in here that even if the guy doesn't close, we get the money. And I'm going to use this. I like this because that's what I get." Okay. So now let's go back to your problem. Your RIA group is 8 hours away. With 8 hours away, what I would say to you, it's not the only place. You're about to go to an auction, which I saw in there, which is brilliant, right? I came up with this a few years ago by going to an auction. I went to an auction, and you've probably what's this person's name here? Is it in there? I don't have your name. I'm sorry. I went to an auction just like you're about to go to an auction. And I knew I wasn't going to buy this thing. I just went because my friend's family was losing the house. They said, "Please, can you go? If you can buy it, we can keep it in the And I just did him a favor. I went there. You've probably heard me say this story. I'm going to give you the short version. I knew I wasn't going to buy it. I thought it was worth 150. I forget the numbers right now. It ended up selling for $200,000, way more than it should have sold for. All right. But who was there? Tons of investors. Okay. So I'm in there looking around, and I've got these investors everywhere. Sorry, I'm going to shut my phone off here. I've got these investors everywhere, and I'm sitting there going, "My goodness, I'm looking at this guy's the wholesale deal." I don't know how many there was, 10 investors there. There were hard money lenders there. There were banks there. Who bought it was an attorney rehab flipper. And he's like, "Pete, I haven't seen you in a while. How's it going?" I said, "Oh, man, how you doing?" I loved being, because I walked out of everyone's business cards. One little auction. I don't care if it's at the courts. I don't care if it's at the house. I don't care. If you can get to a location where these people hang out, do it. All right. So that's my immediate advice to you. Go to that auction. But I'm going to give you a couple of more real quick, okay, to find investors. Here's another. I'm going to give you some options these don't cost you money, these options. I'm not telling you to put Facebook ads out like we do to find investors. I'm giving you the free stuff. Go to an auction. Here's another one. You're going to drive by so many properties that are boarded up, and you're going to say, "Oh, that looks like it can make a good flip," right? Next thing you know, you drive by it, and what do you see? A dumpster there, and people are already doing work. More than likely, an investor bought that property, a flipper, a rehabber. Go in there, knock on the door, and if you only find the demo crew there because the investor's not there, go back again the next day. Keep on going there till you find the investor. It's 2 or 3 trips. All right, just get in there. You know how many people have done that to me? I'm not always on job sites. I'll buy the property. If I'm rehabbing them, I'll go there demo day. I'll kind of make my list, but I'm there 2 or 3 times a week. I'm on the job site. Leave your card. Tell them that you're an investor as well. And if your card does the right thing, you give them the card and you say, "I'm an investor as well. I find a lot of deals. I can't do them all myself." The language is all in the modules. It's in the investor landing page. I find more deals that I can handle. If you're interested in me sending you some deals, please give me a call. All right. But I would like for you to meet them in person. By the way, bring them a coffee, bring them some donuts. I always say this. It's not that, it's not the $5 that you're spending. It's just a nice gesture. And maybe not on day one. You don't walk in there, day one with coffee and donuts. You walk in, you meet someone, you say, "Oh, nice to meet you." If you're new to the business, tell them, "I'm new to the business, but I've got a real creative way of finding, and if I find something, are you interested? If I bring them to you, and if we can do them together, I can, wholesale them to you." Okay, that's another way of building your list. And the second time you show up there, that's when I want you to bring some coffee and a donut or 2 for the guys, for the workers, for everybody. It's not the $5, right? It's just, wow, what a nice gesture. You brought a coffee and a donut. Good timing. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. The guys are taking a break. If you gave them $5, "Well, thanks for your time. Here's $5. They're going to look at you and say, "I don't need $5. But a coffee and a donut," all right, especially out neck of the woods, some dunks, it's like, it's people do that to me all the time, and they're smart to do that. All right, that's another way. Craigslist. Go on Craigslist. You can put ads on Craigslist, but go on Craigslist and look at the people that are selling rehab, just renovated, completely brand new, renovated, blah, blah. The people that put it on Craigslist are trying to avoid MLS, and they're just trying to, not pay the commission or pay half of the commission. So you're going to find so many people on Craigslist that are doing this and they're selling their properties. Write their name down, call them, email them, go see the property. Go find out what's going on. I love going to the property. So that's another one. Facebook ads, yes, you can do that. What else did I write down here? Oh, you go onto Google, probably the cheapest employee you're ever going to have, and put in sell my house fast in North Carolina or wherever you are. All right, put that in there. And guess who's going to come up? A list of We Buy House people just like you. All right, JKM Property Solutions is going to come up. Now, maybe 5 out of 10 of them are just wholesaling, and maybe 5 are investors. Maybe it's 7 are investors. But guys, that doesn't cost you anything. Okay, and if you do this and you find investors, wholesalers, sorry, take their name down and say, listen, I'm finding a lot of properties, and sometimes my investors might not work this area that you're working. Are you okay if I have a good property, and if it's a $10,000 wholesale it? What do you mean? Well, if you put them through your list and we can get 10 grand on it, we'll make 5 a piece. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. We do that. Okay. If I get a lead and then I'm not marketing, it's far, it's in the Cape. We don't really do the Cape. I'll call the people up and say, hey, I got something here. I think it's good, but I don't have any investors in that part of Falmouth. Sure, Peter, let me see what it is. Yeah, I got someone that loves this area. I can get $10,000 for this. Will take $5,000 a piece. Okay. So another thing is, if you're working with, it's public record, by the way, on who closes on properties, who buys properties, and if there's a note on the properties. Okay, so if there's a mortgage or not. If there's no mortgage on a property and someone closed on it, chances are they're an investor buying it cash. That's public record, so you can look that up. Okay, Registry of Deeds, your Registry of Deeds. Also, if you have a realtor on your team, and we talk about putting a realtor on your team in the modules, a realtor and attorney, okay, tell your realtor to look it up. Say, can you look up in this county who's paid cash in the last 30 days? She'll give you seven names. Thank you. And they're usually LLC names. All right, then you go on to the state's registry to see the LLC, and you see the owner, and send them a letter. That's all. And all these scripts, all the letters, they're all in the modules. Send them a letter. Say, hi, my name is so-and-so. My partners and I, remember, my partners and I find a lot of properties in these areas. And I primarily do this. If you're interested in anything, please give me a call or go to my investor landing page. Don't call it that. Just go to my website and log in, opt in. And as soon as I find something in your area, I'd love to give you a call. Guys, when you get 3, 4, 5, 6, and you don't need 20. Okay, because too many is a big problem, but start off with 3. You don't need 100. Okay, that's how you find them. But I commend you for, you're saying thanks for doing these Q&As. You're doing the work, and I commend you for doing the work. I don't have your name on here. I wish I did, because I like to kind of give someone's name out when I'm talking to them. But I commend you for doing that. And by the way, all right, when he first started, his first RIA meeting was 3 hours out. It wasn't 8, it was 3 hours out. And he went to every RIA meeting, and he made his connections, and he made it happen. How bad do you want it? Okay. All right, I'm going to keep on cranking here. I'm not stopping, so I know it's been over an hour. What's the best way to establish a database of investor buyers? I've only got $20,000 to start my business. How can I invest it for the best use? I just told you how to get your investor buyers, partners. Okay, add that word in there, partners list. It's the same thing, investor buyer partners list. I only have 20 grand, guys. 20 grand is, I didn't start with $20,000. Okay, and the best place to invest the $20,000 is marketing. Marketing. All right, because without a deal, you can't get to the next level. The first thing you guys are going to do that are in the program, you set up your website, you get your business cards, that's all done for you. Just go in, get your Gmail account, or use the email, get your domain, set up your websites, and now get your business cards. Now you're ready to market. So if you got 20 grand, you don't even need that much money, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of money to start with. So I would spend it on my best way to use my realtor. I like that question from you. This is Miguel. So I'm not using the MLS system. Let's talk about MLS here. Wait a minute. This is a hot one. Let's talk about realtors and MLS. I can't tell you how many times I get people that go out there and say, Peter, I just can't find a deal. I'm on MLS. And did you just say MLS? Let me tell you something about MLS. You're not going to find deals on MLS. Okay? Here's my analogy. I've said this 100 times, maybe more. And those that do the Q&As with me on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, you'll know where I'm at with this. I look at every option to find leads as a fishing pond to feed my family. So if I'm going to go to this fishing pond, I'm going to throw in my fishing rod. I want to catch a fish to feed my family. And there's many fishing ponds. One of them is the MLS fishing pond. And here's my analogy for that, okay? The MLS fishing pond is a huge pond, almost a lake, all right? And there's thousands of investors around there, thousands with fishing rods like this, all right? Catching boots and other dirt and debris from the bottom of the pond. And in that pond, there's maybe 5 fish. 5 fish. How successful will you be in feeding your family tonight if you're in that MLS fishing pond? 5, 10,000 investors looking for a deal. 5 fish. Pretty much you're going to starve, okay? That's MLS. Now, there's 5 fish, meaning that it's possible, and by the way, I've done deals on MLS, and I'll give you a little quick tip right now. If you have MLS action, or whether you're a realtor or not, by the way, sidebar, if you're a realtor, I'm a broker myself, fully disclose that you're a realtor. That's all, okay? Talk to your attorneys as well, but I disclose on every contract. I am a licensed real estate broker in my state, and I intend to profit from this transaction. So fully disclose. If you're a realtor and you have MLS action, and you can get MLS activity, I want you to go in there and do, look at properties that have been in the market for more than 90 days. That's a little trick, because sometimes people will go out there, they'll put in a for sale price, and if you are not getting offers in this market in the first week, you've priced it wrong. It's not the place needs a lot of work. You've priced it wrong. Because if the place needs a lot of work, the price is going to reflect it. If the place is a dump and it's a knockdown, then it's worth the land value, right? It's all about the price. So if you go in there and do searches for anything over 90 days, you're going to find some gems in there where people have just had it and they're ready to sell, okay? Not my favorite, but that's where we find stuff on MLS. But what I would rather do is that you fish in a pond that has 50 fish in there, and there's only 10 of you fishing, or 50 of you fishing, or 100 of you fishing. The odds of you eating there are pretty good, okay? Pretty good. So let's talk about some of those. And I know I'm kind of going off the side a little bit. Let me see. Also, what's the best way to use my realtor? So the realtor, this is where I want you to use realtors. And this is one of the ways of bringing in leads. I like working with realtors. I have a campaign for realtors that says, hi, my name is so-and-so. My partners and I do these type of properties. We pay cash, blah, 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 blah. If you have any off-market deals, please bring them to me. You will make your commission, and we will give you the listing to sell when we're done. But you got to tell your investor partner that they have to do this. That's part of the deal. Now, why do the realtors love doing this? Some of them, by the way, say, oh, no, I'm just going to put it on the market, blah, blah, blah. Listen, realtors do pocket listings and off-market listings all the time because they get calls from sellers that say, my house is a mess. I don't want to go through this process, Judy. I just don't want to do it. Do you have any investors that will buy this thing? So you're not doing a disservice. They're asking you to do that. All right. And yes, their fiduciary responsibility is to get the highest and best number, but they also have to listen to their client. And if their client says, look, Judy, I know it's worth 200 grand. Can you give me $150? I just don't want the open houses. I don't want to clean. I don't want to fix the roofie, but you can fix the roof. I could probably get you, I don't want to fix the roof. I don't want to do anything. I'm in Florida right now, and it's, winter's kind of like, oh, okay. These scenarios happen all the time. This is where I want you. If you had one realtor that brought you one deal a year, okay, that could be 5, 10 grand. If you had one divorce attorney that brought you one deal a year, that's another one, first responder, all right? Another first responder we talk about is the people that go on the site first, meaning that you're ready to sell your house, and what does Aunt Julie do? She calls up the fence company because the fence is broken. She calls up the general contractor because this is broken and we got to fix it. She calls up the painting company. She calls up the landscape company. She calls up the septic company to give you a Title V on the septic tank. So I write letters and educate my first responders. Guys, if you come across anything like this, I pay you cash, to the first responders. I'll give you a bonus check just for referring me the lead if I close on it, and you do the work. So think about it. A painter shows up, gives them a price, $10,000, $15,000 to paint the inside, the outside, the garage, the barn. And Mr. and Mrs. Seller are going, we don't have money to do this. They say, okay, I know a guy that buys these houses as is. Here's his card and his brochure. You want to give him a call and just tell him Jack told you to call him, right? what I always say is not just that. I give them a brochure and I train my first responders to say, here's a brochure and I got your number because you call me. So your number is Julie. I'll have them call you, Julie. And then I pay them for those leads. I'll give them $50 just for a lead. I'll give them $100 just for a lead. And if I end up doing the deal, I'll pay them $1,000. I'll pay them even more if it's that good of a deal. And I give them the job, the $10,000, $15,000 job or whatever it is, right? But you see how those first responders can help? These are just a couple of quick ways I'm giving you that don't cost a lot of money. By the way, it's all of my systems are in the Flip Finder course, okay? They're on the dashboard. Go to Flip Finder. We give you so many ways, everything from free to Facebook ads to TV ads and billboards. I mean, it's your choice. You know, another great one is, I like to do just drive-bys. And if I see properties that are boarded up, I like to send them a campaign. I use the Autopilot system that you have, put them in an Autopilot campaign, create my campaign, and just send them mail out. Let the Autopilot system do it for you, okay? All right, I'm really an hour and a half, but you know what? The first 7 minutes, we had technical difficulty, so I'm still going. All right, let's see. Resources to find cash buyers. We went on that. Okay, we did that. Real estate auctions, word of mouth. Got more questions? No more questions. I got enough. What do you got? Gotcha. All right. Let me see. I talked about MLS. I've been enjoying the real estate education, been providing really good system to making money. Oh, I'm going to end with this question right here. All right. I'm going to end with this question right here because I know I've gone way over time, but this is a great question. It says, hi, Peter, I've been enjoying this education that you have been providing. It is a really good system for making money in real estate. Love the systems, the websites, blah, blah, blah. However, I must say that the market is a bit concerning to me. The market seems to be flying right now, but there's a lot of indicators that are on the cusp of real estate market correction. Can you share your honest thoughts and what is coming in the next few years to come? Do you see a correction? This is what I talked about in the video today, that I'm going to share this with you, okay? And how will the correction affect us and are seeking to use your system? Thank you. And this is from Ken. Ken, great question. A question I deal with in every market all the time. I bought my first piece of real estate in 1997. My first flip, it was a flip actually, but I didn't know it was a flip at the time. But my first actual flip, 1998. So it's been 20 years, all right? And I definitely lived through the last crisis, the 2007, 2008 ridiculousness that I just amazing of what happened to real estate in 6 months to a year, what happened, okay? I'll tell you this. I talk to a lot of people. As you can imagine, I'll talk to guys on Wall Street. You know who I like talking to the most? The people on the street. That's who I talk to the most, okay? The realtors, the people on the street. What's the pulse of the market? Interest rates are rising. We're living in a political crazy world. The economy is booming. I mean, it hasn't been this good unemployment since 1968, okay? It's booming. Labor is at its ultimate low. Everyone's working. You know, I own several businesses. I can't find good help in my other businesses. It's a tough time, but hey, you can't have your cake and eat it too. We all want a good economy. We all want to make money, and we're making money. But what I'll tell you is this. There's certain indicators I look for a market correction. Do I think we're going to crash? My personal opinion, like we did in 2007, 2008, I don't think it's going to be that bad, and I'll tell you why. What happened then was there was a lot of bad loans that were written. They were doing pulse lending, mirror fog lending, we call it. Okay, what's pulse lending? They would check. Does he have a pulse? He does. Give him the mortgage. Fog mirror lending. Does she breathe? Oh, she's fogging up the mirror. Yeah, literally, guys. I mean, I laugh about it now, but I saw this. People were just getting, stated income and no doc loans, ridiculousness. And if you forget the name of that movie, if you ever watched that movie, man, that showed you how they were just selling, they were putting A packages on these notes. They were lying. They had credit companies that were they were giving them a credit approval of the notes, and they were lying. Okay, so what happens when you're lying and giving bad debt, people are buying things that they can't afford, and then the snowball just hits and collapses. Okay, what happens when we have a catastrophe? We put in systems in play that will prevent catastrophes to the best of our knowledge. So I'll give you an example. There was a time where there was no fire escapes in buildings. There was a time where smoke detectors were not required. Well, a catastrophe happened, and now we reacted, and there's smoke detectors, fire escapes, sprinkler systems, and so forth. Well, that catastrophe happened, so there's new systems in play right now where that catastrophe, in theory, can't happen. Can someone still die in a burning building with a smoke detector, a fire alarm, and a fire escape? Yes, right? Are there still bad loans that are out there right now? I think so. I'm not saying I personally know of them, but I'm sure that there's bad loans out there. So there's always a probability of something like that happening. But when you're rehabbing and flipping and doing new development, so I'm doing a new development project right now. I'm going to be, I think most of you, if you follow me on Facebook, you kind of see it. It's in East Boston. It's 5 new units. That one, I got my ear on the street. I'm listening to the realtors. I'm listening to, things are slowing down. Then they pick up, slowing down, picking up. So I'm listening to that. But guys, here's the beauty of this. We're quick flipping real estate, okay? So I said in my video earlier today, this is the perfect time to be quick flipping. What's the play in a down economy? Quick flipping. What's a play in an up economy? Quick flipping. What's the safest play in any economy? Quick flipping. And quick flipping, AKA wholesaling. If you put a property under contract right now and you have a $50,000 assignment fee coming to you and the market crashes, what's your risk? What did you do? Right? In theory, if the market crashes and that investor says, oh man, I'm out. I'm not doing that condo conversion. I am pulling the trigger. I'm not going for the 250. I think I'm going to lose my shirt. Guess what? You still made $50,000. If you want to be a nice guy, you can give it back, but you don't have to. You get it? So wholesaling, quick flipping right now is the best maneuver, best move, best strategy we can be doing. The economy is good. I do think we're going to see a little bit of a correction because I think things are ridiculous. But I don't think it's going to be the correction that we saw in 2007, 2008. The Fed's raising the interest rate. They're trying to slow down the economy. That's the purpose of it. It's like, whoa, guys, whoa, because we don't want to rock it. Because if you see that cycle, and you see this cycle, right? So I'm going to end off with that right there. I think using the trusts, making money on a deal, even if it doesn't close, it's the best strategy to use right now. That's why I'm leaning a lot of my attention on this. That's why I'm teaching this right now. And yes, I have flips in process right now, okay? Because I do cherry pick and do flips as well. But this course that everyone's getting into, this online course, is all about quick flipping. I had a lot of questions here on, can I do deals with 20% down? Guys, we're not talking about doing flips. We're not talking about rehab work. This is all about wholesaling. That's what this course is all about. Can a lender really give me 100% financing? Yes, they can, but we're not talking about all that. All right, that does exist. But we're talking about quick flipping wholesales. All right. I think I've taken enough of your time. I went an hour and a half. I hope you guys appreciate that. As you can see, I love this stuff. Ask me any questions you want. I am passionate about this. This is what I do, guys, and I love it. All right. So if you have any more questions, if I didn't get to your question, but I'm pretty much, in one form or another, I answered pretty much everyone's question. I know there was a lot of redundancies with the question. If I missed anything that's important to you, email us at support@quickflipsystem.com. All right, support at quickflipsystem@singular.com, and either myself or one of my staff members will get back to you. There was one question on a domain that I wanted to talk to someone about. Any technical questions, website questions, just go right to the tech department, guys. When you're in Autopilot, go to chat. All right, I'm pretty sure we're almost 24/7, other than weekends, 24 hours a day for chat, tech support. That's unheard of. I was telling somebody, even Macy's, I don't think that's that, right? So 24/7 tech support other than the weekends. But if respect to a quick flip question, support at quickflipsystem.com, all technical questions in Autopilot, which we didn't talk a lot about today, but Autopilot is amazing because it puts all of this on autopilot for you. And you've got the app, okay, that does it on autopilot for you as well. That's it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care, and I hope that helps everybody out. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.